Hi Quilters! Thank you so much for having us. We are more than happy today. I dare to say that we are very funny.
Yeah. Today we're going to explain some of the jokes that we put on Revenge of the Doodle, and the previous video we show you guys the top of this quilt, and today we're looking at the back of it. So something I didn't mention yesterday, the previous video, is the measure of this quilt. So it does measure 43 inches per 53 inches. So
that's a very nice quilt. Yeah. We loved it so much. We already talk about that on our previous video. So we are trying to just do the jokes here because there is a lot and there is so many details on this thread sketching. Yeah. But one thing we want to say is that this effect is caused because we used invisible line, that kind of invisible thread, yeah, here to
quilt the faces.
Yes, to quilt the faces, and the thread sketching is black and the backing fabric is white, which we choose on purpose. If there was a much brighter, much wider fabric, we will choose that, because with this we can really have this kind of doodle and very informal look that we wanted for this bag. So it is incredible how we can see all the traces of the characters here. Yeah. And really identify which is what. And when you see up close, we'll see on the detailed video here, but you can see the facial movement on with the invisible thread. So it is an amazing result that we loved so much, so much when we finished.
Yes. So here you're seeing it like a mirror because, well, it is the back, yeah. But in the video we changed that.
In this video later, in the close-up video, yes, right? Okay.
In the close-up video, we gave it a mirror effect.
Yes.
So we are able then to read the phrases, the words properly. So I guess we should take a look at that video first, because it helps to understand everything. Okay, so there's this leaf.
As you can see, it is completely visible, the nose and the eyes of the face with this invisible thread. We liked so much this border treatment here. We like every single detail about this quilt.
Yeah.
So there is some 100 free motion quilting.
Oh, he's Dracula.
Yes.
So some of these words or phrases are actually part of the movie that inspired the terror characters.
I think it's character, yeah.
Yeah. There are little monsters everywhere. And also we quilt some, well, we didn't quilt just the face, we quilt things that could relate to the faces, to the movies. And we'll talk.
So it has some contrast.
Yeah.
And sometimes a little scenery too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of details in this kind of frames of the phrases, the quotes. Mm-hmm. And these little monsters are
So much fun to do.
So much fun to do, yeah.
So yeah, as the bottom of the quilt set, it is 100% free motion quilting.
Yes.
Especially this thread sketching, because we wanted to do it, free motion. So there's not a single marking on these monsters and these drawings. And here's a detail of the binding. It has 2 colors in the back, and it was flat piping in the front.
And this is another detail on the border. And this detail is much more visible on the front because the black thread shows more than the gray thread on the front. But it is nice too there.
So the binding was also made with satin fabric. And there's the funny phrase movable quilting. And there are movable machine. Anyway, so this is it.
I think you already know that it's funny because you can see actually all the jokes, but we want to explain a little detail if you do not know the films, the movies.
Yeah.
But we'll be very, short on that explanation because you have Halloween, you have contest for this.
Yeah.
In Brazil, we have to explain much more because this is not something that people recognize at first here. Our students even didn't know anything of that when we started to do the same talk in Portuguese. But you already know what's going on here, so...
Yeah. So that's it.
No, it's not. But
we'll explain, because maybe there is someone out there that hasn't seen some of these movies.
Or didn't know the story of the movies. Yeah?
Okay. So it will be a challenge for us to explain that in English. Let's see what's going to happen. So let's start with Dracula. So we think we made this recreational funny thing with the Bela Lugosi's Dracula.
Yes.
So
from the 40s, 30s.
Yeah. So movies. Of course there's the spider thing. What's the name of it?
Spider web.
And the little spider.
A little spider over there.
And that's so because funny. That is part of the castle of Dracula.
Yes, and he turns into a
bat.
When it's night and he wants to fly. So
very useful. I would like that.
So he has mystical powers.
Yes. So we put on the faces some more expressive features of the character itself, such as the hair, because Bella in this film has such a round hair that does this movement.
This movement here came actually from Bela Lugosi's natural hair. So this feature of Dracula is natural hair from Bela Lugosi. So.
And it became a
trademark of
Dracula all over the world. If you want a real Dracula feeling,
at least this is the feeling we have.
Yes. And also we make special thing with the eyes and the what's the name? Eyebrows, because there is a scene of Dracula where some light came just like this, like
that noir films.
Yes. And he does a face like this, and you see just that bright big eyes, you know, and it's very, very nice.
And in the first movies, it didn't turn into red. This is something that occur later in the movie. So it is an amazing scene to see.
Yeah. So here, of course, the teeth, you know, the big teeth and the blood drops because, well, that's Dracula, of course, and his clothing, you know,
it's a very fancy clothing because he's a lord in Transylvania and has a castle, so he's a very fancy guy. So we wanted to show that he's a complete gentleman. So we wanted to put here like this formal kind of clothes.
And here
this feature of a cape, which is very, very famous of Dracula. So there is this cape feeling here.
Yes. And there's some phrase, very nice phrase of the movie where Dracula said, "I never drink wine."
It's an actual quote of the quilt.
Yes. And it's in the scene where the other guy, Richfield,
the victim,
so he went to the castle and he was, you know, having dinner, and then Dracula came in and he says, "Well, do you want wine, etc.?" And Dracula said that, "I never drink wine." So it's so nice because at this moment, you know, oh man, your life's going to be complicated. And of course, we cannot not mention that this phrase, same as any other of this film, is amazing I don't know, with Bella's accent. It's fantastic.
Because he was Italian and he didn't speak English, so her English was even worse than his English was even worse than ours.
Yes. He learned English,
the pronunciation only of
but he didn't know what that actually means, and so
in English. So some you know, translation guy, I don't know the name, some people that speaks English Italian and Italian need to read the English pronunciation to him, and he would decorate everything, memorize every single pronunciation. So of course it's very bad and it's great. It's also great because it's so funny.
Well, yes, if you think, well, he's from Transylvania, he won't speak.
He doesn't have to speak perfect English. So it's a very
he says something, "I never drink." It's so
wine. It's amazing.
It's amazing.
We like this a lot. We like it a lot.
So and here's
all of these films are films from the 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s. It's not based on
actual
today's
movies
because we liked the movies from that time. So that is us in the script.
And also the funny is to transform the golden era of actors and actresses from golden era of Hollywood into the kind of same time of movie, same year or something like that.
The same aesthetic, I guess.
It transformed that, you know, glorious actors and actresses into the horror,
the mainstream, into the B movies. That's the
fun.
That's actually what we wanted to achieve when we did this quilt. So and that is the gates
of the castle.
Yes.
And now the Frankenstein monster. So he is amazing too. So we brought to the face itself the most important features of the character, such as his hair. That's so nice.
That is amazing.
and the final shape of his face, you know, and the stitches, yeah, of, well, because we said that earlier, he's
patchwork guy.
yes.
It's a very bad joke, but it's a joke. He is a patchwork guy, so.
And this line of his forehead that is so impressive, marcante.
I don't know. It's like his main feature is the most important trace, is the most important characteristic that he has, and people can also relate to.
Yes. So basically, actually, all of these faces, they are the transformation of this doodle is quite simple because we wanted to keep simple, and it's like this. Well, if you want to transform yourself into some of these monsters, what would you have to do? It'll be that, you know, it's quite simple. Do some black what's the name?
Beneath the eye,
yes. What's the name?
I don't know the beauty name. I know it's that dark area here, which monsters and, you know, very
dark circles. I don't know if that's true, but anyway.
So we use this technique to transform the faces, and what is more funny is that in English, makeup really means that to construct something, to build something from the beginning into something different. But in Portuguese, our word to make up is not transform anything, is like to cover. So in English, if we say we did a makeup in these faces, it is so much funnier than in Portuguese. So you have that joke that Brazilian Portuguese speakers do not have. This makeup we did.
Here's the castle where the monster get to life, you know. And here is also words that monster of Frankenstein said, but in the second movie, The Bride of Frankenstein, or is Frankenstein's Bride?
The Bride
of the right. So, but anyway, it is bread, framed, and wine, because when the monster is lost in the woods, he turns to find a blind guy that didn't see that he was a monster, so he didn't care that he was ugly and weird and so on. So he teaches the monster that he could, you know, have a friend.
He gave shelter to the monster. He feeds him, and he really treats him nicely.
Yeah. So he teaches the monster that bread was nice to eat, wine was nice to drink, and that the guy was his friend. So Frankenstein, the monster of Frankenstein, kept saying bread, wine, friend.
If we switch fabric, it could be a quilter joke, like fabric, friend, and wine. That's all we need, right? So that's all Frankenstein's monster needed: bread, friend, and wine.
Yes.
So there is that very funny quote over there that is, how do I look? You know what that means, but it means that Frankenstein is like pieced and have this lot of makeup. He is built from a very different person. So actually, he's a variation of persons, because that is why we put some cemetery you know, scenery here, because the actual doctor take parts of dead people, sew them together. Dead people, sew these parts together to make a whole person, and with the lights put electricity in the body of this, you know, patchwork guy, and it comes to be alive. So that is why we have this here, and there is high, because we was always thinking that he would, like, you know, get up from his bed and say, how do I look? It went okay. I'm fine, I'm looking great. So we thought it was funny. So
yes. So here's the bride of Frankenstein, and also again we brought the most expressive features of her face, such as the white part of her hair that is curly and, you know, wavy to the top anyway, and also lightning because she has also become alive because of the lighting process of electricity. Talk about her face.
And her face, her face. The very funny thing here is that we had to look for a picture to inspire us on the front of the quilt that has this characteristic, but we didn't only do the, you know, aesthetic thing. We need something with content. So this character, the bride of Frankenstein's monster, actually rejects Frankenstein, and we have used the Audrey Hepburn picture, because in this movie Breakfast at Tiffany's she also rejects the guy. So we thought it was so funny, and this face is like a beautiful class about makeup in this in this decade of cinema. So there is this very big lashes, this eyebrow that is super thin, and we always, when we saw that movies, we always comment on how they are so much into the story and how they will tell their story, that it doesn't matter if it's not realistic. It really doesn't matter. So she's beautiful. She is actually a dead person who is electrified and get alive, and she's like, oh my god, I'm so beautiful. I wake up like this, you know. And we had to put that, her lips are perfectly defined and delineate. It's like she's so beautiful, so beautiful, and we had to put that here. So this white shades in her hair is from the electric lighting that her body, you know, handled in that way. And she also had stitches, but there is not stitches like in the very front. She's not, it's like he is your first quilt and she is your quilt after a class, you know. That is the difference between them. So she is pretty, and we put that here. And she was made by the doctor, the Frankenstein doctor, to be a company, you know, friend or maybe a fiance to the first monster. But she doesn't want to. But we didn't care, and we put this phrase, "Here comes the bride," because
well, in the head of the doctor, there is something he would say, you know, like, hey, monster, come here. Here comes the bride. So, you know, so that's it. And we also brought some of her clothing. Here she has the white,
like kind of a robe or maybe a dress, something that a dress with a pajama and a goddess, you know, clothes, something like that. Okay,
more here because then you can show everything. Okay. It will be easier to see.
Okay.
All right. So
there is the bride, the Audrey Hepburn turn two. So
here's the werewolf, and we brought some funny things for him too, such as the moonlight. Oh God. Full moon, actually. The full moon, because it is when he transformed into a werewolf.
Yeah.
And so we quilt a lot of fur, at his face. His hair turned into a very
bold,
furry head, and his eyebrows too. He got a wolf nose, little teeth, bigger than a human teeth, but of course not so big as Dracula's teeth. So, and he's, wolf, he's thinking of it because he just turned into a werewolf. And here's we wrote Moonlight in my favorite dressing, which is very nice because then I'm tired of holding that. Because when he transformed into a werewolf, we are saying that, well, he likes
to dress up like a werewolf.
Yes, so in the movie, when he transformed, he always lose his clothing because he got bigger and everything. Yeah.
Tears up.
Yes. So he got just, naked, but furry, so not.
It's kind of a dress.
Yeah.
He's dressing in a certain manner.
Yeah.
And dressing like in the salad, like a salad dressing.
Yeah.
Because moonlight turns her appetite. Turns his appetite on, and he's so hungry for people and people in the moonlight. So we thought it was very funny.
People taste better at moonlight.
Yeah. So of course, this quilt, there's nothing to do with our situation today on this pandemic moment. We pay all of our respect to the real deaths that are going on all over the world, but this quilt is about fake deaths on cinema, so that's why we are laughing and treating this as a joke, because in this contest, in this scenery, this is all a joke. So let's continue to the funny things.
So here we wrote Doodle Addicted, and that was all free motion quilting.
And all doodled.
All doodle. And all of the doodling is with threads, is using thread sketching with black tri-lobe thread.
Yes. And the phrases are very, self-explained. So Doodle Addicted with a lot of doodle in it, just like all the quilts. The end on the right bottom when the quilt is facing correctly. Yes. This part refers to the end of the movies that has this kind of frame here, just like this quote that have a frame, because on silent films, silent movies, when a character was saying something as it was not there was not sound available so people can hear the character saying anything, they put that like a subtitle in a big frame on the screen, so that it was like, it looks just like this feature here that is framed by this alert, this communication note. So she's saying that, he's saying that this is how the film ends. And we have some 100% free motion quilting here that was actually 100% free motion quilted. So And we have the last one that is movable.
It's not the last
quilting.
one. Revenge of the Doodle. The
Yeah.
name itself, it is also a joke, because there's a lot of movies, B movies from that time, that was called Revenge of something, like Revenge of the Virgins, Revenge of everything you could imagine.
Yes.
So we imagine, well, since we're going to doodle it and we are going to name it Revenge of the Doodle, we need to have a lot of little monsters,
Some riot guys here to
Yeah.
do a mess. And we like to call it the Quilting Monsters. That one that when you have to quilt, that make your eyes burn when you see a quilt and you have to put your hands on. That one that cries when you are at a show and you cannot put your hands on the quilt.
Yeah.
And that one that makes you buy that lots of fabric that you will never use, but you have to have. And this is that guy, the fault is from these guys here. There are so many, because each one
It's for something.
is for something. Yeah.
So, I think maybe we should put the close-up video again, because you cannot see the phrase here is movable quilting, and of course you will understand it very well, but
pretty well.
let's take a look.
Yeah.
There is the movable quilting.
The movable quilting was inspired by the front of old cinemas, with that kind of letters or signs that were letters with light bulbs on it. A very, very antique kind of sign, luminous sign. And this frame here
From the movies.
is from the movies itself. And we have a relationship with frames. We have to frame our quilts very nicely. We like to spend time framing, doing the binding, doing some kind of a special treatment. And we thought that it's because we relate to that time when the package was so very thoughtful, and so beautiful, just like this kind of letters on the theater, and this kind of shapes. And the most funny and important thing on this quilt are these two guys over here, because these two guys represent us climbing into the quilting world, because this is this was, is, were, are. I'm talking about one or two. I'm confused. The design of the... Let's start again. The design of this little monster here, we've created when we were quilting for a month, maybe. This was our very first original design, so we were so happy we have a place to put it. And this explains ourselves so much, because we are kind of little, monsters. we feel that vibrant life, we feel that happiness, and we are kind of so we thought this was a very nice to put our face on the quilt without. If we were on this film,
self-portrait,
we'll look like that for sure. So this is it. This is the back of Revenge of the Doodle.
Yeah.
If you want to ask anything, if you want to know anything about this quilt that we have not talked, please, please, please let us know. Comment. Be free to share and to, just comment some laughs. That would be nice, because we thought this is very funny, and judges actually comment hilarious quilt. This is hilarious. I laugh out loud, yeah, with this quilt. So I just can imagine the show quilts, heirloom after heirloom, and suddenly this.
Well, it probably didn't work like that because it was at Falpaduca.
Yeah.
It was at the whimsical category, so it was whimsical, you know, humor.
Than this,
It was that shocking as you like to think.
Okay, yeah, I really thought that.
But it was
for
in the box.
us, yeah,
It was in the box.
and for us, it is like this because we do not have whimsical quilts.
No.
This is the only one we did. So for us, I probably have this feeling because it's like this for us.
It's very
like
different from our other quilts.
Crystals, feathers, flowers, and some monster face. So it's very nice. It's a very, very funny quilt to have and to hang. So thank you guys for hanging out with us here on Orbit Quilting Studio. We are so happy to making this English little content. Oh my God, do not do that here.
She liked it too. You know,
like it too much.
She was looking at the cat.
Okay.
Oh, a friend. So that's Willy in English. I am Natasha Bugarin.
I am Aline Bugarin, very, very pissed off with a cat, and
no,
she's an angel. Okay, she's a monster, just like these characters here,
just like us.
Yeah. Okay. So please comment and make your jokes here. We will love to laugh with you. Thank you guys for having us. Thank you so much for watching this video, and be more than welcome to comment and to give your thoughts. We see you next video. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.